Okay, we've all heard it a million times, right? To make it as a creative, you need talent. And look, that's true. Talent is the spark, it's essential. But what happens after the spark? How do you turn that initial flash into a sustainable fire that keeps burning? Well, that's what we're diving into. This idea that while talent gets you in the door, it's the systems you build that actually let you stay in the room and build a real career.
So here's our roadmap. First, we're going to tear down this myth of raw talent being the only thing that matters. Then, we'll get into the boring secret that actually unlocks creative freedom: systems. After that, we'll peek behind the curtain of so-called overnight success. I'll give you a super simple way to start building your own foundation, and we'll wrap it all up by talking about the huge mindset shift that really separates the hobbyist from the pro.
All right, let's get right into it. First up, we need to tackle a belief that sounds really romantic and inspiring, but in reality can be a major trap, especially for the most gifted people out there.
Think about it. We all know that person, don't we? The one with just breathtaking, raw talent. An incredible painter, a mind-blowing writer, a musician who just gets it. But ask yourself, are they always the most successful ones? You know, the ones with a sustainable career? So often the answer is a hard no. And that gap, the space between pure skill and actual success, is exactly what we need to explore.
So here's the real distinction. The thing we have to get straight. Talent is the spark. It's the skill that gets you noticed. It's what gets you in the door. No doubt about it. But here's what it isn't. It isn't the sustainer. Talent alone won't manage your schedule. It won't send your invoices. And it definitely won't organize your project files. To stay in the game, you need something else entirely.
So if talent isn't the whole story for a long-term career, what is? What's the missing piece? Well, the secret is something that, on the surface, can sound, well, kind of boring.
And that secret is a system. Yeah, I know. It sounds so corporate, so totally unartistic. But just strip away the jargon for a second. A system is nothing more than a repeatable process that you design. It's a routine that handles the tedious stuff, freeing you up to do the work you actually fell in love with. And we're not talking about some abstract corporate theory here. These are real-world practical things. A system is just your step-by-step process for bringing on a new client, from their first email to the final invoice. It's how you organize your digital files so you aren't wasting hours searching for that one thing. It's a simple spreadsheet to track your finances. These are the engines that actually power a creative career. And this brings us to a really interesting paradox, something that trips up a lot of creatives. We resist structure because we're afraid it's going to suffocate our creativity. But the truth is, the exact opposite happens. When you build a reliable machine to handle the boring, repetitive tasks, you free up a ton of mental energy and time for what really matters: the actual act of creating. This is what we're aiming for. Look at your week like this chart. Without systems, that admin and logistics slice can easily eat up 50–60% of your time. But every system you build is designed to shrink that slice, giving you more and more of your week back to actually doing the work. Because let's be honest, you didn't become an artist to chase invoices, did you?
So what does this actually look like in the real world? You know, when we see a super successful artist, we often wonder how they did it. We picture this one lucky break, but the reality is almost always hidden from view.
We've all seen it. An artist just blows up. They get a massive gallery show, or they land a huge client, or they go viral. And we call it overnight success. It literally feels like they just appeared out of nowhere, fully formed and ready to go. But what you're actually seeing is just the very, very tip of the iceberg. Underneath the water, that overnight success is being held up by this massive, invisible infrastructure. We're talking years of consistent work, reliable processes for making and sharing their art, and the professional habits that make the whole thing sustainable.
Okay, so the idea of building a whole infrastructure might sound pretty daunting. I get it. But you don't have to build a skyscraper on day one. You just have to lay a single, simple brick.
So here's a dead simple 3-step way to get started without getting overwhelmed. Number 1, just start with one thing. Seriously, don't try to reinvent your entire life overnight. Number 2, find your biggest pain point. What's the one thing that drives you nuts every single week? Is it finding old project files, tracking your income? Start there. And finally, number 3, aim for good enough, not perfect. Create the simplest possible solution to the problem. You can always improve it later. You know, when you really start to embrace this way of working, something fundamental starts to shift inside you.
It's about more than just being organized. It's a complete change in your identity as a creative.
This whole journey kind of looks like this. A lot of us start out buying into that romantic artist myth, that we have to wait around for the muse to strike. Then comes that frustrating moment where you realize inspiration and talent aren't enough to pay the rent. The real turning point is when you make a conscious choice to build systems. And that choice, it leads directly to consistency, reliability, and ironically, way more creative freedom than you had before.
So here it is, side by side. On the left, you've got the inspired artist who waits for the lightning bolt. Their work might be brilliant, but it's unpredictable. On the right, you have the professional who builds a machine to support their talent. They show up, they have routines, and they deliver consistently, whether they feel like it or not. That right there, that's the difference between a passion project and a professional career.
So let's make this real. Forget all the theory. This is about action. The only question that matters right now is this one. Looking at your own creative practice, what is the one simple system you can build this week to take away your biggest frustration? Find that one thing. That's your key. That's how you start unlocking more time for the work you truly love to do.